We're gonna do the damn thing. I think everybody should surround themselves with badass women. It makes life so much more awesome.
Stabbing people in the fucking face. Bible stories.
A lot of motherfucking fuck faces coming out of my mouth, so.
I also have Chardonnay in the fridge.
Journey, if you will. Jesus Christ. Fuck, I can't do it.
Test.
Oh, test.
Yo.
Hey, what's up?
Not much, I just have bread in my mouth.
A baguette. It's appropriate, though. We're talking about another French woman.
Baguette.
Someday we'll branch out from France, but...
Someday.
Oh my gosh. How's it been? How's your week been? I feel like I haven't seen you because you're, like, getting ready to leave me, and I'm not okay with it.
No, you're not. You're showing a lot of resistance. Yeah, I've been, like, packing shit and, like, clearing out the house so that I'm not leaving Milo with a bunch of crap, knickknacks, and he wants to live the Bachelor life while I'm gone.
Oh, the Bachelor life. Speaking of, you have been watching Bachelor in Paradise, right? You just started watching
I just started the first episode.
Okay, I don't want to spoil things for you because I'm all caught up, and it is... I realize that I get really annoyed that every single season of every Bachelor or Bachelorette or whatever bullshit they're doing, Chris Harrison says, "This is the most dramatic season ever." But
Chris Harrison is the worst part of that show. I'm like, why did he just tell us it's the last rose? You know, you're just like...
That's all he's for.
Breaking the immersion.
That's true. The immersion?
Yeah, like you're like... You
Sometimes
have to, like...
I pretend I know what words mean and I don't.
No.
And so then when someone really uses them, I think
it's actually like a film term, like,
Oh.
when they, like... I don't know. I think this is what Milo says. But he says, like, when they, like, take you outside of the world...
Oh.
For, like, a weird thing. And you're like, you're in this rose world of, like, picking your the man,
or
and woman, and, like, giving them roses. And then this guy comes in, he's like, hey, it's the last rose. And you're like,
I also just
go away.
Don't understand the point. Like, I do understand.
And they act like he's their best friend. I'm like,
yeah,
who are you?
I know that it's for dramatic effect and all of that. Like, I theoretically and logically, I guess, get it. But what I don't get is every time I watch it, because I rage watch it, like, and I realize I've said that on the last podcast, which, hold on, pause for on the Bachelor Nation bullshit. The last podcast we talked about, I brought up the basketball player who started his school, and I want to correct myself because I feel like a total asshole for not remembering that it was actually LeBron James.
And not OJ.
Oh my gosh, that's not even, oh my God, it's not even I can't. I think I said Kobe Bryant, which is like about a decade late. I'm a decade late to that party. I'm not sure. It's LeBron James, and it's this shit, and yeah, and it's actually, I took notes because I wanted to make sure that I, like, gave him proper notoriety, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say. I just admitted that I used words wrong all the time. So here we go. It's LeBron James, and it's called the I Promise School, and he gives free tuition, uniforms, breakfast, lunch, and snacks to kids that are going there. He also gives them a free, they can transport, I don't understand my own notes. They can, like, I guess, come in within, free transportation. That's what it is.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, within 2 miles of it. He gives them access to a food pantry. They're guaranteed tuition to the University of Akron, which is where he went if they graduate. So it's this huge, huge, amazing, amazing deal. And it's LeBron James. LeBron James. Not Kobe Bryant. But I mean, honestly, the way I am with sports people are, like, lucky. Not people. I'm lucky, I guess, that I didn't, A, age myself, and B, point out my actual lack of knowledge in sports by saying it was like Scottie Pippen or Michael Jordan or
OJ.
Yeah, or OJ. Good job.
I'm not ashamed to say I know nothing about
Yeah,
sports.
but I mean, the last time I watched basketball was when Seattle had the Supersonics, And
It was a big time.
I loved the Sonics.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up going to see those games, and it was fun, and it was, like, whatever. So, maybe I should probably just be like, I'm boycotting basketball until Seattle has Sonics back or a team back, but that's not true. I just don't care anymore. But anyway, it was LeBron James, and good on you, LeBron James. Like, we appreciate people that are doing awesome things for other people. Anyway, back to Bachelor in Paradise, because that's not awesome people doing not awesome things for other people. And it's trash, and I love it. So I rage watch it because, like I said, I think on last week's episode, or rather our first episode, because it's been over a week.
Right.
Whatever, we'll get our shit together. It's fine.
Episode 1.
So on episode 1, I was saying that they're animals. They put themselves in that position on that show to be ridiculed.
Yeah.
It's not to find love. It's to get famous. It's so they don't ever have to work again unless they want to sell, like, Fit Tea or whatever the fuck on Instagram and FabFitFun boxes. Not that we're not okay with being sponsored by any of these people also, but, like, I'm just distracted. But, like, also, that's why they're on the show. I don't know if any of them are genuinely looking for love, or we could go with that all humans are always just looking for love everywhere they go. That's also fine. And they just happen to get famous in the process. But, like, I rage watch it because I feel like it's okay to judge these people. So,
well, they're accepting the judgment.
Yeah, like, they're opening themselves up to it.
They know exactly what they're doing.
Right. So what I don't get is, I believe that some of the contestants, I call them contestants because it is a game show, are awesome humans. I mean, they can't all be bad. Like, I really like Becca Martinez from Ari's season. She was the one that everybody was like, you're so young, even though she was like 1 year younger than everybody else, who now has exposed Leo for the tool that he is.
Really? Did you learn something about Leo?
I learned a lot of things about Leo.
Because you really liked Leo.
I really did. I was fooled, I will say. I'm not fooled very often, but I was fooled. I think it was the hair. It was full of secrets.
The hair was full of secrets.
It is. His hair, I think I was. Because I learned before the scandal went down, and, well, really before his true colors were exposed, that's what I'll say, that his name is Leo, and he is a Leo.
Yeah.
And I'm a Leo.
I mean, look at the mane.
Right. So as a Leo, I can look at his hair and be mesmerized because I'm like, holy fuck, I wish my hair was that great. Sometimes it is when I'm lucky, or when Megan, Poppy Lane Salon in Tacoma on Broadway, by the way. Anyway, we're going to pimp her out. Does my hair. That's when it looks great. Every other time, I don't brush it. Whatever, it's fine. So anyway, what I learned about Leo via Becca, and she's also, like, she's, like, not just like social justice, like, she clearly does the work and all this other stuff, which we could, again, have a whole podcast with Becca. Maybe we will someday. Maybe she'll be a badass guest. But she was talking about how all of these women suddenly, maybe not suddenly, maybe it was, she felt like it was time to come out with it. I don't know those details. But all of these women were coming forward with stories about Leo. Saying that he sent them unsolicited dick pics. He was way too aggressive when pursuing them, but, like, over the line of way too aggressive, like, sexual
Not just
assault.
Annoying, but, like,
no, but, like,
harassment.
actual harassment and sexual assault.
Yeah.
And his response on social media was really actually very concerning and freaked me the fuck out. Because instead of getting on social media and being like, I don't know, even admitting it and be like, I was really young and that's not really an excuse, and I was a really big douchebag, and I've since done the work to, like, change my ways, and I'm so sorry, and I'm sorry, and, you know, actually trying to maybe be a decent human about it, or, like, do the work to...
Or, like, take responsibility.
Yeah, and see maybe the toxic masculinity or the bullshit or all of the things wrong, and do the work. He posted an Instagram story of all these girls, like, oh, Leo, oh my God, we love you, Leo. And he's, like, sitting there listening to it, like, them say those things and, like, basking in the glow of these women oogling him. And it was really gross. And I just was like, oh, no, I think I'm over it. Not even I think I'm over it. I'm far over it now. Like, I will believe a woman who comes forward with those accusations, really, before I'll believe.
Yeah. Like, he's not helping his...
No, and then he was like, I'm going to sue you, and you can talk to my lawyer. And she's like, great, but I can send you all of the evidence. And instead of talking to a lawyer, why didn't you just address it and talk about it and apologize or do the work?
Yeah.
And he wouldn't, and he refused to. And so it's just gross. It grosses me out.
Yeah, that's sad.
It's a total bummer.
So now you're like watching Bachelor in Paradise and like your favorite
And I'm
ones,
screaming at the girls that, but also he doesn't come in till I think episode 3 or week 3. I don't know. They do 2 episodes a week, and I feel like I'm bombarded with Bachelor in Paradise, which is exactly the way I like it, actually. But it's very aggressive. But I don't forget what happened the week before, so it's great. Anyway, this is a really long ramble. Sorry, guys. So he comes in and he like sweeps this one girl who I actually really like also, but I'm not going to spoil it for you. Like off her feet, kind of. And he, of course, talks to everybody because that's what everybody does. So that's like not weird. But then he sweeps this one girl off her feet. They go on a date. It's cute, I guess, but I know these things about him. So I'm like, bleh, gross. But then they come back from the date. I'm not ruining this for you because I'm not using specific people. Also, it's Bachelor in Paradise. Like, this isn't, I don't know,
real life.
Really awful that I could ruin for you. It's not like the end
not like Game of Thrones.
Well, no, and it's not like the end of Big Little Lies or something really cool. Anyway, so he comes back and then he's like talking to this other girl, and I actually can't remember her name, so it's fine. I couldn't ruin it for you anyway. But he's talking to this other chick, and he's like, "Oh, I actually came here for you," or something along those lines. And then he's like, "Oh, it's raining. I've always wanted to make out with you, probably in the rain." And he's using but he's using all these like fuckboy terminology things and sayings and sentences and language, and it made my skin crawl. I was just like, how this is gross. Like I didn't need the accusations of sexual assault. I didn't need the dick pic bullshit.
Like, you
at all.
know that's there already.
I would have seen it in the episode.
Yeah.
Not that I'm not happy Becca came out with that, but like, I wouldn't, he could have, that could have never come out, and I would have thought he was a sleazeball because of Bachelor in Paradise.
Yeah.
Which I get is partially editing, but how partially editing is it now that we know he's a total asshole? You know?
Yeah.
But he tells these girls, yeah, I'm a stuntman in LA, like I do Waterworld, which you do Waterworld, cool, whatever. Also, then he's like, "Oh, are you totally naked under that thing? Like, whatever your little romper you're wearing?" And the girl's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh my God, I can't handle it." And this is the other girl after he told the one he took on a date that he, like, came for her. And it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of confused by Bachelor in Paradise because, like, then you have, like, this really cool, like, single dad. And he's like, and Chris...
Kenny?
Yeah, Kenny. Chris was like...
Oh, I hate him, too. I hate that motherfucker.
Chris was like, I mean, and I don't know him yet.
Oh.
I'm literally on episode 1. And he's like... Chris is like, "Oh, I don't know her name. What did your daughter say?" And he's just like, "She just told me to have fun." And I'm like, what? Like...
Why does that matter?
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, you're, like... He seemed like a nice guy. Like, what are you doing... I don't know.
Kenny was
and I
Chris.
guess part of me, and I guess then I'm like, well, should I judge someone just because they have a kid?
No, I mean, lots of contestants have kids.
I know.
Chris gets...
But, like, I didn't like that he brought his kid into it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she was, like, on the show.
Oh, well,
and,
he
like,
brought her into it, like, when he was trying to date Rachel, too. Like, that was his big deal. Was he was a wrestler.
You either have a kid, you've never had an orgasm, or you're a virgin.
Yeah, right.
Something weird.
Oh, it's fucking weird. It's a fucking weird parallel universe that I don't understand, which is why I yell at the TV when it's on, and it makes me feel better about my life, actually. All the mistakes I might be making, I'm like, well, but I'm not admitting to the entire nation that I'm a virgin. I'm not, but I'm not admitting that on national TV.
Don't even
also,
get me started on that.
Chris turns into a total gaslighting dickbag. Oh, he's awful.
Oh, no. Chris, I liked how they started his, like, intro of him. He's, like, arguing, and then they're like, "Hey, I'm Chris."
Oh, God.
I'm like, you just showed, like, your worst moment. And then, like,
I love that Venmo John's counting money, like, honestly. Anyway, I'm excited for you to watch the rest of it.
Yes,
I'm excited for you that Wills is on.
I like Wills. He's the only one I follow on Instagram.
He's the other good one. So him and Becca I follow on Instagram, and
I don't follow Becca. I don't like Becca. Becca's, I mean, she's just there. I feel like Will's was like really showed.
I don't follow
who
Becca
he
the
was.
Bachelorette. I follow Becca Martinez.
Okay,
Sorry. I need to, I guess, specify because there's too many Beccas.
I like
Bachelorland.
Bibiana.
I don't know Bibiana.
There's something about her that I'm just like, oh, she's like fun. I like that she like makes jokes about her vagina and is like all into that.
I mean, yeah.
Obviously, she's like a kind of a sex kitten or whatever. Like she's just like really into it. But I'm like, okay,
Get it, girl.
I got it.
Anyway, it gets
I'm into
interesting. I'm excited for you to watch the rest. How was the rest of your week on Bachelor in Paradise?
Oh, fine. Not much. But I heard something really interesting happened to you.
I mean, I've had a few interesting things happen.
Someone
it's been a wild ride.
actually just turned 34.
Oh, I did. I have thoroughly embarrassed myself in multiple ways, so 34 is off to a really good start. Both are funny. Actually, there's 3, but all 3 are funny. And at least, I guess, at 34, I can laugh at myself. Like, whatevs.
I mean, that's...
Yeah, the first
all you got left.
embarrassing thing was that I met with my weightlifting fitness coach, we'll call her. I mean, I just made the actual commitment to do training things for, like, Highland Games stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, I'd been wanting to do it, but I told my coach about it, so now it's, like, fucking real, because that's how she's gonna train me. Yeah. I made the jump.
She doesn't fuck around.
Right, I jumped in Loch Ness. Here we go. So, anyway, I met with her on my birthday in the morning because I keep having this goal every year since I've been, I think, 30, that this year I'm going to be in the best shape that I've been in, which I keep to it. I mean, as you know,
You're really dedicated. I do it for like a month and I buy a donuts and deadlift shirt and then I'm like really excited.
Donuts and deadlifts is the shit though.
They really are. And it's like one of my favorite shirts. And then I'm busy. And then I just haven't gone.
Well, I've been working out outside.
And you're like running around downtown Centralia.
Oh my God, it was so great.
What did you do today? Was it fun?
Well, today I met her downtown, and I was like, oh fuck, she's gonna make me run, which I don't like. But she's like, I don't know if you can be certified as a running coach, but probably. But she knows what the fuck she's talking about. She's like done the homework. She's done the research. She like knows. I trust her.
Yeah.
And she's teaching me how to run properly, which is...
Actually, I would love to talk to her.
You should come one day.
Because
we'll give her an extra vegetable share. And not to be an asshole, but like she's trading for vegetables, which I think is really fucking cool because I wouldn't be able to work with her. And I think it's an incredible opportunity. And anyway, I'll ask her if you can come. So today I met her in downtown Centralia, which Centralia is not a large town, but it's still a downtown. There are still people there with eyes. Yes. It's fine. And she has her own barbell, which I love because she just like totes that thing around and it's goals for me. Anyway, so she brought me the barbell and she's like, we're going to work on cleans today and upper body. And I was like, great. So I had to power clean 5 times using like proper grips and things, which I didn't know until she taught me, honestly. And then I had to push press. So you're holding the barbell at your shoulders and you strict press it above your head 5 times, which seems easy. And I don't know how far it was to the base of the hill that I had to walk to and back, but it seemed really fucking far. Because I would have to do those 5 and then 5, and then on the 5th strict press over my head, I would have to hold the barbell there and walk as far as I could. And when I stopped, I would do the 5 and 5 again and then keep walking. I think it was about a mile, but it was probably like a half mile. But I'm sore and tired, and you witnessed me trying to open a container of goat cheese like an hour ago, and it was really hard. And my new microphone I was trying to open, and I was pulling the styrofoam apart, and my shoulders are already really sore.
I was like, do you need help? And you're like, no.
I got this.
I am a beast.
I know. It was crazy. But my first 34th embarrassing story was that the morning of my birthday, she made me a special birthday workout. And I was like, great, cool. And she was really excited about it. It was really cute. And she told me what it was, and I was like, those are really weird numbers. 19 lunges, 8 stair climbs, which these are sets of stairs up bleachers, like down the bleacher, and back is 1, or maybe 2. I don't remember. I blocked it out. 8 of those, 4 laps around the track, and then 34 overhead squats. And I was like, those are really weird numbers. Like, usually they equal 100 or something. And she stared at me. I was like, what? And then it finally dawned on me that it was 19, 8, and 4, which is 1984, which was the year I was born, and 34 overhead squats because I'm 34.
And she had everyone...
Yeah, and she said she was going to have everybody
group,
do that.
Yeah, which is cool.
That this week, which felt great. And then the second one was that during the overhead squats, I needed to stop, I think, at 20, and I, like, miscalculated where the bar was and smacked myself on top of the head with the bar. That was fun.
Shit.
It was really painful, but, like, I laughed about it immediately, so she said she didn't worry too much about me. And then hopefully the final really embarrassing part of being 34 so far, but probably not, was that I was meeting my friends for brunch on Sunday, and I didn't like what I was wearing. So I had the time, initially, to stop at Target on my way to pick up my friend. And I was like, well, I'll find probably something cute. Target always delivers. It's fine. And I found a really cute dress, and looking at it, it looked like the size medium would fit me, but, like, sometimes Target runs really small. Also, my muscles have gotten bigger, so it's fine. And it didn't. And, like, I got it on over my chest and stuff. And then I couldn't get it back off. And I looked at what time it was when I put it on, because I was like, how much time do I have? I need to, like, pick something out. Minutes. Yeah, and I have to go meet Megan, or I'm not going to be on time. And, yeah, so I know how much time I spent struggling. And it was 20 minutes. And I was like, fuck, this is how I'm going to die. I'm going to die here because I can't get it off. I don't have a bra on. I am bare tits to the world in a dressing room, not to the world yet, but I was like, I'm going to starve because I can't go fucking ask for help and tell the dressing room attendant, if there even is one at this Target, that I'm stuck in a fucking dress. Like, I'm stuck. I was about to cry, and then realized how funny it would be later to my friends, and that they'll never let me live it down, so I should obviously tell it on my podcast. And so I, like, pull the dress. I don't pull the dress down. I pull, like, the skirt part. That's not frilly, but it's, like, loose. Over my tits. And I, like, peek my head out, and there happens to be an attendant there. And I was like, hi, excuse me. And I'm not a timid human, but I was in this moment. And she was like, oh, can I help you? And I was like, I didn't really cry, but I wanted to. I was inside. And I said, I am stuck in this dress. And I took my keys to this dress. Like, I was not afraid to rip it and be like, I'll buy it. It's fine. Like, that's how... my Leo pride was in the way.
It's less humiliating than having
I was like, I will cut it with my keys, and I couldn't. So that was fun. And this adorable human, she was like 7 months pregnant. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm not wearing a bra. This is really awful. She kind of laughed, and she was like, girl, I am pregnant. Do you know how many people have looked at my vagina? And I was like, cool, help me out. And I, like, raised my arms, and she was like, awesome. And as soon as she got it over my shoulder blade, not even my shoulders, but it was over my lat.
Yeah.
I got it off. And then we laughed about it. And then my friends about fucking died laughing. My husband, Ryan, especially, because I hadn't even opened his present that he got me yet, and he was like, I need you to open your present, like, immediately. And I was like, why? Because I was 25 minutes late now. This took 30 minutes. And I was like, okay. And he got me this bracelet, which I haven't even shown you. This little tiny bracelet that says late to everything. Yes! He was just like, but I got it for you on the best day because you are late because you got stuck in a dress at Target.
It's awesome.
So
I love that story.
3 really embarrassing things about being 34 so far.
It doesn't get better, guys.
I mean...
Ladies.
It doesn't.
No.
I think you just get better at laughing at yourself about it.
Yeah, and I think that's
it's fucking hilarious.
It's
Anyway.
super good.
We should probably talk about our badass woman today because it's not me for getting stuck in a dress at Target.
No. So, hold on. So today we are talking about Camille Claudel, a 19th century sculpting genius who revolutionized sculpture art, but until recently was very little known. She was betrayed by not only the man she loved and worked with, but also her family. Camille is responsible for bringing passion and emotion back into sculpting and changing the way. That's fucking what you wrote on the post.
Oh, man. I'm a horrible... I think I read over and everything looks great, and I don't know. It's because I use words I don't know. I know the word changing, but
Word.
in general.
Listen. Only 20 to 30 of her works remain, and since her death in 1947, France has built a museum dedicated just to her and her works. So what's the scoop? What's the tea?
What's the tea on Camille?
On Camille.
Well, Camille's one of my very favorites. My mom actually is the one that not actually introduced me to Camille because she passed away in 1943. She's 78, by the way, which is pretty amazing. But my mom no longer lives in Paris. It's okay, guys. She retired to San Diego. It's not like she's living a hard life. But Paris is magical and amazing. So I've been there many times, and we've been to many museums, which I'm not complaining about. Art is one of my very favorite things ever in the universe. And my mom was like, oh my gosh, I went to the Rodin Museum, who's a very famous sculptor himself. Sort of. I mean,
We'll go into it.
We'll get there. And she's like, I went to the Rodin Museum, and it's amazing and beautiful, and these sculptures are like fucking unreal. And my mom probably did use the word fucking unreal, by the way. She also says fuck, even though people view her as kind of a soft, loving Pisces.
Pisces get very misunderstood that way because I remember I was working at a retail store. I won't name them because they don't deserve it. But
Yeah, girl.
Once we closed the doors, I was a fucking sailor. And my associate was like, "Oh my God, who are you?" And I was like, "There's no customers here. Fuck it." And like, there's another side to us. We're not all just like happy and nice and like accommodating because we are, but then like we're not afraid to.
Right. And my mom is a beautiful, beautiful human. I mean, she really is. She's loving and wonderful. And
I heard her voice today. It was very exciting. I was like, "This is her mom."
I know, it was really cute. She's the so cutest, cute. And she's very excited because now that she is on American soil with an American phone number, we can call and we're in the same time zone. She can call me anytime. And I mean, my little sister, she's not really my sister, she's my cousin, but I don't have any brothers or sisters. And Sarah and Mackenzie are the closest I had to little sisters, so I call them my little sisters. So we're not actually like Hicktown sister cousins. They're actually my cousins. We just call each other sisters. Sierra's in labor, like as we speak, actually. Ooh. Which is super sweet, sidebar, because my grandparents of grandpa that just passed away. I'm not going to try to make you cry. Okay. I make no promises, though. He passed away on June 24th. No, July 24th. Holy fuck, where am I? July 24th, which is exactly 1 month before his and my grandma's 61st wedding anniversary. And we all, I mean, it was at Tacoma General, and I mean, everybody was amazing, all the surgeons and all that. Like, it was, anyway, we don't need to go into those details. So we all were like, that's crazy that he passed away exactly 1 month before. I thought it was insane that he was born on a Friday the 13th, and his heart surgery, which he never actually woke up from, technically, was on Friday the 13th. I mean, there were all these synchronicities, right? Which I believe in. Sierra's now at Tacoma General in labor. It's August 23rd, and everybody is like hoping, praying, rain dancing, whatever religion or thing you do to hope and pray and send out good vibes to the universe, all of us, except for Sierra, because she's really fucking tired of being pregnant, are really hoping that at least at like midnight or right after she has that baby. Because that would be on their anniversary, and that would be really sweet.
Really sweet.
Yes, and my grandma's having a really hard time, understandably so. She was married to him for 61 years, and they, like, actually loved each other. So, I won't tell the story, because I don't want you to cry.
No.
It's really sad. It's beautiful and sad, and another day. So, anyway, I got to call my mom and be like, hey, I just wanted to call you real quick. Sierra's in labor, and we haven't gotten to do that in, like, 7 years. So, it was really...
Like, call each other on the spot? Because
we usually
have such a time difference
Skype or FaceTime, rather. Nobody Skypes anymore. We'll have to. No, we can FaceTime. Oh, anyway. So, we usually did FaceTime every Saturday at 9 a.m. So, now I could just call her. And it was a great moment. Anyway, so my mom introduced me to Camille Claudel because she said she was at the Rodin Museum and there are all these amazing works by him, and then there were, like, on every plaque, I think, or this was, like, 4 years ago, so my memory, I mean, there's lots of wine involved in between then and now. So it was either on a lot of the plaques or she was just mentioned in any kind of reading material there. Camille was mentioned as his apprentice or having helped design those or whatever, and so my mom was like, who the fuck is this Camille Claudel lady? And they talk about her there because she has some of her own works there. Because she was his apprentice for a little while. And her artwork is amazing. Her sculpting is amazing. It's, like, unreal. Oh, God, there's a bat in here.
Okay, a bat just flew in the office.
Maybe it's
Bye,
shut
bat.
the door.
Okay,
Is it
no,
out?
I just left.
Okay.
He was like, they're walls
cute,
in here.
but they carry diseases.
Like rabies.
Anyway, I don't want to turn into a vampire. So,
Not today.
not today, Satan. Anyway, so they mention her a lot at the Rodin Museum, and we'll get into why, and understandably why. But so my mom did the research on her and read a couple of books about her, and then anytime we talked about sculpting or art, my mom was like, oh my God, you have to have Camille Claudel. And I was like, okay, well, whatever. And then I started sculpting. And so I looked into who Camille Claudel actually was, because my mom's usually right about everything. And now I'm obsessed. And not now, but I've been obsessed for a little while. And so Camille Claudel was born on December 8th, 1864, so she's a Sagittarius. And she was born in northern France and a child to a family of farmers, which is also pretty great since we work on a farm. And
you're also part of a family of farmers.
And I think it's lovely and wonderful that I have things in common with her. And so her family, her mom hated her, which is really tragic and sad. This is not actually a very happy story, but, like, she's a woman in history. It's a story of bravery. It is, and she needs to be known. Like, she needs to be known because it's so unfortunate and unreal and fucked up that she... Oh, the bat's back.
The bat is back.
God.
Oh, God.
God. Whoa. Ah! Okay. No. Shit. Get the bat.
Okay, come here, bat. Come on. Oh, my God.
Oh,
okay.
no.
Okay.
Is this podcast not supposed to happen today?
No, it's happening. And this is all going to be in it.
Okay. He's up on top of the paint can.
Should we, like, coax him out?
I don't know. I don't want to get bit. This is like that fucking episode of The Office.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Where's Dwight?
It's like... it's Rabies Awareness Month.
Okay.
Oh, God.
I don't want to... Our wine's on the floor. Oh, this is great. Okay, I'm gonna...
Oh, our wine's on the floor. The wine is on the floor.
Where is it?
It's behind that, like...
Oh, dude.
Yeah, he's in there. He might just stay there all night, but we don't want him in here.
He can't be in here in the morning.
Yeah.
I don't want him coming after us either, because he thinks we're threatening.
Yeah.
Okay, well, fuck.
We're looking
everything that flies in here now.
We're freaked out now.
Oh, God. Okay.
God, that thing almost touched us. He flew at us.
We have food out and stuff. Maybe we should put it away. They like fruit. Should I put the melon outside? I don't know. Well, that's what they eat.
That's true. I only know that from Stardew Valley.
I know that from the zoo. Anyway,
from
okay, so
Camille
Claudel.
Okay.
So her mom hated her because she was the second child born of 4, I think, 3 or 4. And the firstborn child they had was a male, and he passed away. And her mom, oh my God, okay. Her mom then resented her for not being a boy. Are you looking at another bat?
No.
Are you lying to me?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
It wasn't a bat. It was too small.
Okay. So her mother resented her for not being a male child, which is really unfortunate and really shitty. And so her father, from what I remember, because I didn't write it down, her father was pretty well off. He actually, while she was from a family of farmers, he wasn't a farmer as far as I remember. He did other business things and had money, and that was another bat.
Okay.
Should we
Should we stop?
Oh my God. Are we back?
All right, we are now in a back porch with dogs. With dogs staring at us through the glass door.
Oh, Callie.
Wanting in. So sweet.
We're actually sitting outside, so they want outside. They think they do, but
they don't.
They don't. We're just being watched over by a giant English bulldog.
She's so cute. Her name is Caliber, and I'm very excited about that, actually. I love that name so much.
And we're drinking wine out of... So usually when we do this podcast, we're at the farm where we work because there's privacy there. We have a garage that we work out of.
And we kind of find whatever glasses are available.
Which are usually mason jars.
Mason jars, styrofoam cups.
We're classy bitches.
Water bottles.
Yeah, I mean, I did chug a liter of water just so I could put wine in my
exactly.
jar.
So now we're in these beautiful crystal glasses, and I feel the wine just automatically tastes so much better.
It does. They're Waterford stemless glasses that were my grandmother's.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I figured it's a good way to manifest great things for our podcast by drinking out of bougie bitch glasses. And my grandma was the bougiest of them all. So
yes.
Cheers to you.
Cheers.
And cheers to Camille.
And the train.
I told you.
No,
I told you.
I used to live 2 blocks away from here.
Oh, that's right.
So I am very comfortable with the train.
I'm fine with the train.
Me and the train get along well.
I just think the events of today, we are persevering for this episode.
We just endured bats in a bat.
Yeah, but
literally flying inches from your head.
By the way, the train is
and then
1,000 feet from my back porch.
1,000 feet. And it I just feel like we were very close to getting rabies. We were very close to repeating the Office episode.
I mean, I love bats. They're cute and everything.
They're so cute, but they're fucking dangerous. And
you have to take
really
precautions if you touch them, and I don't have health insurance. So
currently,
I'm just not willing.
There is a baby bat.
In the office.
In the office. And tomorrow morning, you're going to have to go in and call someone.
I'm just going to call Mason. Be like, there's a bat in here. I don't know what to do.
Mason, deal with it.
I know. So we were talking about Camille Claudel.
Camille.
So we left the office to come to the train station, obviously.
Yeah, we get it. Train.
Yeah. They legally have to, so whatever.
We're like, is this podcast gonna happen?
Right? Is this episode? I felt like
we're like at our It's like 9:30. We're like...
I know, I'm tired. I feel like this is how I expected the first episode to go, where there were so many, like, blips and shit happening and, like...
awkwardness is, and we're like, trying to pull it together.
And hurdles, and it's not. It's
Camille. So we were talking before, pre-bat, we were talking about Camille Claudel and how she was born in northern France. She was a child of a family of farmers, and her father was then in business, actually, after that. And her mother hated her, is where I think we left off.
Yeah. Because
she wasn't a boy. Which is sad. That's really fucking sad. For many reasons. So then in 1881, her father moved the mother and her brothers and sisters to Paris, specifically to Montparnasse in Paris. Which now there's a huge train station there. It's great.
Yeah.
So they moved without her father. And it's also noted, it should be noted, that Camille's younger brother is the poet and diplomat is the word I was trying to say, Paul Claudel. So I didn't really research him. I don't really care. He's a dick, so that's kind of how I feel about it. He wrote one or two notable poems, and he was a diplomat in France at the time, and didn't really give a fuck about his sister, actually. Probably because his mother didn't either. Her father did love her and did try to take care of her. He gave her money. He funded her education. He kept her afloat financially, mostly, until he passed away. So they moved to Paris in 1881, and then shortly after, she started studying at the Académie Colarossi, which is one of the very few places at the time that were open to women students. Her teacher was Alfred Boucher, and that's who she studied sculpture with. And it's notable that at the time, like the best art school, especially in France, but in the world, one of them was the École des Beaux-Arts. I didn't actually look up how to say that. I'm just going off the little French that I know, so super sorry. But they did not allow women at all. They do now, obviously. But right. And they're like I think they're on the left bank, and they were very prominent. And people that went there that were of note are Bourdelle, Degas, Delacroix, and Renoir. And then Rodin, who will come up very shortly, applied there 3 times and was never accepted. Which I think is notable because we'll get to when him and Camille were working together and when she was his apprentice and why in like 2 minutes. But there are many, 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 many art historians who say, and no, I guess, and I'm not an art historian, but I am a lover and studier of art, and I agree with them, that his work was not that notable until he met Camille Claudel.
Right.
And his most famous works happened after he met her, that she either helped him with and helped him design or designed herself, and he put them into work because of how the art world and sculpting was and the world was for women at the time, or he took them from her and just did them, or she helped him with them and there was no way he could have done them himself, but he takes full credit for them.
Right.
Yes. Fun. So she studies under Alfred Boucher, and then Alfred then goes to the Academy of Florence, I believe, in Italy. So he leaves and he asks Rodin, who Auguste Rodin, spelled R-O-D-I-N, but it's pronounced Rodin, steps in. He asks him to step in to teach, because he's not like a world-renowned sculptor, but he's good enough to teach.
Right.
Kind of deal. So that he moves to Florence, he asks Rodin to take over instruction, and then that's when Rodin enters the picture. And in a lot of the things I was reading about them, and to my own knowledge, but a lot of the things said, enter Rodin and the tumultuous relationship, which nobody really knows what happened between the two of them except the two of them. But given people's impressions of the two of them that they would notice by actually being around them, they were very passionate and very tumultuous.
Right.
In many ways. So around 1884, so they moved to Paris in 1881. Around 1884, Camille started working in Rodin's workshop. So she became his apprentice, and she was 19.
Wow.
Which the photo we posted on our Instagram, by the way, our Instagram is High Tea and Strumpets podcast? High Tea and Strumpets. What's our Instagram called?
I'm like looking at you.
It's one of those two, and it's pretty obvious.
I'm pretty sure it's High Tea and Strumpets. That's HIGHTEAPOD. No.
No, that's podcast.
Fuck.
High Tea and Strumpets. It's exactly how the words sound. HIGH, right? Hi.
HIGHTEASTRUMPETS.
Yeah. And we're on Instagram, and then I think Facebook is where we're High Tea and Strumpets podcast. But we posted a photo of Camille when she was 19. She's very beautiful. She does look very sad, though, because she was.
She looks pissed. She looks done.
Yeah. Well, she was. And we also posted photos of her work, one of her most notable works, which is called The Waltz. Anyway, so that's when she starts working with Rodin in his workshop. And so she became a source of inspiration for him, as well as she acted as his model, confidant, and lover. So they were in more than just a working relationship. And at the time, I mean, she's 19, and even though it was still the 1800s and people didn't live quite as long, I always tend to believe that she was still a 19-year-old girl in love with someone who was 25 years her senior, who was not married but in a committed relationship, and with another woman. And she made him sign a contract. I mean, it's well noted that she showed him a contract and made him sign it, and the contract states that he was always to prove that she was his and he was hers, and the whole time that they were working together, he could not take another lover, use another model, or be with any other woman. But he had this woman, and he was always, in quotes, reluctant to really be with her and leave this other woman, which is shitty. So he just wanted to have his cake and eat it too, because the other woman he was with was his age, so she was also 25 years older than Camille, and no one really knows anything about her. It's very strange. So she also never lived with him because, like I said, he was reluctant to end his 20-year relationship with Rose Beru, which is her name. But he also told Camille that he would leave her. Rose, not Camille. Right. He told Camille, I'll leave her, right? Apparently men do. I don't know. I've been in that situation once. It was really shitty, and it's not something I ever should have done. I will happily admit that, and I still don't like that part about myself, but I think I know almost every woman I know has been with someone where they're like, yeah, I'll leave the other person, and then they don't, because why would they? I don't know. It's very strange. So word got around Paris that she was not only Rodin's student, but also his lover and all of the things. And her mom found out and was pissed. It's also notable here, especially in the beginning when she was Rodin's apprentice, that it was a common practice for sculptor apprentices, and I think other works of other artists as well, for the teacher to sign the artwork, technically.
Right.
That was a common thing in sculpture then. So I know a few people who have studied her, or art historians that are still mad about that, and they say he was trying from the beginning to take credit for her art, but it is something to note that in the beginning, that is actually a normal practice of a master and an apprentice for sculpture. Then. Yeah. Not necessarily now, obviously.
And we're talking about the 1890s?
Yeah. 1880s.
1880s, okay.
So it's not that in the beginning, that wasn't. Yeah. He probably, hopefully, I guess. I don't know. I don't think he was trying to steal her artwork at first. I think that was the common practice. I mean, I know that was a common practice, but no one really knows when she stopped being the apprentice and started being the equal, really. I mean, we can guess because of the dynamic of their relationship changed. But no one really knows. So how long she was his apprentice and when he should have stopped taking credit is the cloudy part.
Yeah.
So her mom was pissed, but she, like we've said, already detested Camille for not being a boy. She also never agreed with her life in the arts. She didn't like that she was an artist. She didn't like that she wasn't a boy. She just didn't like her, which I don't understand because my mom and I are really close, and it just makes me really sad for her.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't have any other female role models really to look up to. I think she met... she does have one famous artist friend. But other than that, in anything I have read about her, there's never another notable female.
It'd be interesting to know how she
reacted to women.
Well, no, just got into sculpture. What kind of introduced her? They're usually of a little bit higher middle class.
She's upper middle class.
Yeah.
Anyway, she always was because of her father's money. And his status. I mean, she didn't come from a poor family.
Right.
They were pretty well off. Anything I've ever read about her says she just always loved art, and that was where her talents lay. I guess is the right word. Lie. Thanks. But also, there's a few places that say when they grew up before they moved to Paris, they played with clay and things out in the countryside where they lived. So she probably grew up playing with clay.
Yeah.
It's not that common, I guess. But that's the only thing I've really ever read about where her interest came from that, other than she just always loved art and kind of drew and painted and did things, but that's where she was most talented, was sculpture, and what she loved the most. So because of her mother's disagreements with her life and her existing in the world pretty much, Camille left home in 1892, and she was 28, and she left home at that time and at that age after having an abortion, which in the 1890s is a huge deal.
Yeah.
I mean, abortion's never not a huge deal, obviously, but I mean, in 1892...
It was incredibly illegal. It was very dangerous.
Yeah, and she wasn't married, and she... Mm-hmm. No one... Also, there's not a lot known about the intimacies of her and Rodin's relationship, other than that everybody seems to know that it was very passionate, both sexually and when they fought.
Yeah.
I mean, it's two artists. Artists tend to be very passionate about things.
Thanks.
In general. Like, I don't know any that aren't, so
yeah.
I know many, and all of us seem to be passionate about beautiful things and things that piss us off, honestly. So anyway, no one really knows if she chose to have the abortion necessarily. I mean, we know she chose to go, but no one really knows if Rodin demanded that, if he guilted her into it, what that dynamic was.
Yeah, we don't know whose choice it was.
It wouldn't really surprise me, because he wouldn't ever leave the other woman. He wouldn't marry Camille, and she wanted that.
So either she felt pressured,
yeah, or
he demanded it, or she just wanted it.
Like, nobody really knows is really the key there. And after that, she ended. This is why I say I wonder if there was pressure from him. That's speculation, though. Like, art historians don't come at me. I'm speculating based on my intuition and my feelings of how things went after the abortion. Because after that, she ended the intimate affair with him. And she saw... I think she worked with him on the regular until 1898. But she ended any intimate relationship with him at that point. And then worked
what?
So
in 1898? Or?
In 1892, she ended after having the abortion, she ended any intimate relationship with him that she had, and she only worked with him as a sculptor and person of that, like a co-worker, I guess.
Apprentice.
She wasn't an apprentice anymore.
Okay.
And she worked with him from 1892 to 1898.
And then 1898.
So after the intimacy ended, she still had to depend on him to either realize her art, which the word realize for artists meant that she depended on him in order for her works to actually be brought to life. So she could sculpt them with clay, but in order, especially at this time too, this is like part of the history lesson of Paris at the time and the world at the time for women, is that in order for her to even make a maquette, which is a sculpture, now a maquette is like you're just making a small thing and you can like do what you want with it, but even to make anything and have it bronzed or had anything done with it other than it to be clay, what's the proper term? Hold on. Which would be realization. Oh yeah. So to get a clay maquette made in bronze, one needed to get funding and approval of the official Institute of France. The art institute, but not like the art institute like we know today, which is a school that you pay a lot of money for.
Yeah.
But the institution of like art in Paris needed to approve that, and they wouldn't approve her sculptures because they were too sexual. They thought that when they inspected her studio, when she had her own studio, but she had to have Rodin there to sign off on it, or Rodin had to be at the studio saying that was actually his art for the inspectors to approve it to be bronzed.
Ugh.
Which is why people are mad and think that he took a lot of credit for her art.
Because of those rules?
Because of those rules,
Yeah.
and because he was willing to do it. And there's other things too that will come into play in a moment. So this is just the fact of, to get that maquette made to bronze, you needed to get funding and approval of the official institute. And the inspectors visited her studio. They refused to give her permission to cast the waltz, which is the one we posted, because it showed two nude bodies in close proximity, and this was not acceptable from a woman. Whereas from Rodin's handwork, so him going and saying, I actually made it, I want it bronzed, the work influenced by Camille's her doing and her inspiration and her ideas became acceptable because men are allowed to know about sexual desire and the body.
Right.
Those were their reasonings, which is just fucking bullshit, if you ask me. So that's why she didn't just leave after she ended their intimate affair. I mean, that's the reason we know today. There might have been other reasons. I'm sure love is very complicated. Humans are complicated. Emotions are complicated. But their intimate affair, or their intimate relationship ended then, and she worked in his workshop because she needed him to pay for her to live, because her family wouldn't anymore. Her father also had, I think, passed away by this time, if I remember correctly. And when he passed away, her family didn't even let her know that he had died, even though they were close. Her father and her.
Yeah.
And they took all the money. And at that time, too, when he passed away, she was known to, like, wander around in what they would call beggar's clothes. But she was homeless. She didn't have a home. She could live in her studio. So she depended on Rodin to pay for her.
Right.
So, yeah. And so because of these gender bias and all of that bullshit and censorship, she was not allowed to get funding for, or realize, as we say, her work. So she couldn't make it from clay and then into a bronze statue for the world to see. He had to do it, or fund it, or whatever.
Under his name.
Yeah.
But that's been lifted, right? Like, now.
For the waltz, yes, and for art historians have kind of, you can tell which artworks are hers. Her style was different than Rodin's. At first, they mimicked each other, their styles for sculpture. But when she finally was like, no, this is mine, they stopped. Rodin's are kind of a little bit more rounded and like fantasy-y, I guess. And hers are her edges are sharp and her angles are really, really well done. And it's mostly love and passion. And she actually recreated the wave,
by Hokusai.
Yeah. And I think she put people in it, and it's supposed to represent like the waves of her emotions and shit that she felt, and the overcoming of that. Not the overcoming of that, but the overcoming of the emotions. And she didn't overcome them, they overcame her. Anyway, so she is well known now, and since moving on from Rodin, I guess. She never really got to move on from Rodin. No one would really fund her. They saw her as kind of erratic in her behavior. When she did try to get the waltz casted and bronzed and get the funding for that, Rodin was very angry at her because it didn't look like his style anymore, which is when people say like he was obviously trying to take credit for her work.
Right.
I don't know if he obviously was, but there was a lot of like, there's one of his very, very, very famous, it's probably his most famous work, which is The Gates to Hell. And art historians say there's just no way he did that all by himself. And he claims kind of to have. Not even kind of. He claims that he did that. That was all his vision. He did it all by himself. And they say there's the work of 4 hands, 2 sets of hands in that sculpture. Right. And the styles differ in it from different places and different things. And it was clearly...
didn't look like...
It was her and him, and he gave her no credit for that.
Right.
And she's known as a sculpting genius because at the time sculpture was a lot of religious sculptures being redone or being brought forward or being made, and not a lot of passion that we know of at the time. Like, I'm sure that they exist, but they're not famous. They're not things that people know about.
Yeah.
And hers were. The waltz is beautiful. It's 2 people in this loving, wonderful, passionate embrace dancing, and they're nude, but it doesn't matter, who cares, it's just bodies, but it's beautiful, and you can see the emotion in them and probably the emotion she put into it, and she brought that back to sculpture, and it was only her that was doing it at the time. And from then on, because even though she couldn't get a lot of funding, the artists in Paris knew who she was. People knew who she was. They just wouldn't fund her artwork because it was scandalous.
Yeah.
And so other artists started making more passionate works, passionate with lovers and passionate with their emotions, and their sculptures began to show how they were feeling about things instead of just redoing the David or David and Goliath or whoever, Jesus again, or, whatever.
Yeah.
And so she revolutionized it again, which is beautiful and amazing. And the reason so many of her works are gone and there's only 20 or 30 left is because she destroyed them all when her and Rodin officially cut ties. I mean, no one knows officially why. She never said anything about it, neither did he really, but they just kind of never spoke again from what I know. And she shattered her sculptures, broke them, shattered them. And it's understandable, because if the man that you love is taking responsibility for your art and you can't get your foot in the door at all because you're a woman and you're doing the only thing she's quoted as saying that's the only thing that made her feel normal and okay was sculpting, and the man you love betrays you that way and actually tells the Institute to defund you because of the waltz sculpture you made, this beautiful sculpture you made where you stepped out on your own, and he was pissed because it didn't look like his style, and he said not to fund it, and in fact you should never fund her again which is when people assume that they just never spoke again after that. Fair to say. Of
Yeah.
course, I would. I'd be like, I'm going to ruin all of these then, because my emotions for him are probably where they came from, right? So fuck him, no. Or I don't want him to take credit for these too. They might have been beautiful works from when she was his apprentice and he signed for them, but I don't believe she wanted him to take any credit.
Well, I also believe too that, like, you know, sometimes you create things in a place in your life.
Yeah.
And then you go and you look at them, or you read them, or you experience them again, and you're like taken back to that place. And if that place is full of pain now,
Right,
it's
you
like
don't want it.
you don't want it, and you don't care how much, like,
Right, you don't want that
legacy
constant
it leaves
reminder.
or like inspiration it gives. You're just, you know, you're not thinking about that. You just, you know, it's yours. You own it, and you have the power to destroy what you create.
Yeah. And, I mean, I have in my notebook, I have the breakup. And so she sculpted the waltz and the wave after the breakup. So, I'm not even going to attempt to say the wave in French because I have no idea. And I don't want to butcher it.
La mer?
No, it's la vague. La vague? I don't know. The wave.
La mer is the sea.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
So she sculpted that in 1887, and it's considered a conscious break in style. Like, she chose to remove herself from him with that piece. In the 19th century, the Academy also thought she was imitating Rodin's work, and so her presence in his studio cast an important influence. Oh, and people believe that also, but they also thought she was imitating his work, so they wouldn't fund her for that as well, which is shitty, to say the least. That's, yeah. And so there are also many art historians, I'm not an art historian, but I'm saying myself included as I agree with them, that her presence in his studio cast an important influence over his work, and you can tell a difference in his work before and after her, and that's what I was saying earlier, is you can tell the sculptures where you look at them and you see the date and you know that was before Camille Claudel. They're fine. They're not that great. And then you see his work after her, and they're beautiful and amazing. And a lot of people believe that she sculpted them. They were her ideas, or he was just so inspired by her that he suddenly became a sculpting genius, which is sort of highly unlikely.
and what's really interesting about this, the premise of, you know, going back in time and trying to figure out what these women are doing,
right,
is that you don't really know what was going on because they didn't have a voice. You don't know.
No one really knows what their relationship was.
It wasn't important what they thought at the time.
There's no social media.
There's no Twitter feed available.
Yeah, the only thing people know are in the letters she wrote to him, which were still when they were together. Mm-hmm. I think she wrote him a couple after they broke up intimately, but she was still working with him. But other than her destroying her work when they completely stopped working together, nobody knows.
Yeah, and otherwise it's whatever he said, whatever hearsay there was, which we all know how reliable
and
that
everything
is.
I'm saying could be completely wrong. She could have destroyed her work because she hated it, right?
Yeah.
She was known to be temperamental, but
it's just full of speculation.
It's so crazy.
And there's something fun and mysterious about that, but also very tragic.
Yeah. And I think, I tread lightly with saying this because it could be really controversial, but I don't like shitting all over Rodin either, because I love the sculptures I've seen that are apparently his. They're beautiful. They might be Camille's, but part of me is like, well, either way I'm appreciating art, but it's like, am I really appreciating the artist? Like, if they're Camille's work, she should be credited with those. But he also was her teacher, so there's this gray area to me, and maybe it's because I am an artist. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a human. It's complicated to be both and all of it all at once. But I learned, every teacher I have worked with or met or even talked to has influenced me in some way and made me the artist that I am. So I find it hard to truly say, like, he took complete credit for her work, or that she was never influenced by him and, like, fuck him and he took it. Or, you know, because they probably influenced each other, especially if they were in an intimate relationship. And I maybe in working on The Gates of Hell together, that could have been a really beautiful time for them, because it's a beautiful piece, and it doesn't have, while it's called The Gates of Hell and it is raw and emotional, it doesn't feel bad to look at that statue or that sculpture. And I'm a firm believer in, you can still, even centuries later, feel the artist's emotion when you're looking at that piece of art, which is why art is so amazing, part of why. And I feel like if that was stolen, or the feelings were terrible and bad and tumultuous in a negative way between the two of them in creating that, it wouldn't be what it is, if that makes sense.
So there is this interesting thought that I just thought. Was that I thought where it, so many, like Van Gogh, so many artists who never got recognized in their lifetime.
There's almost all of them.
Almost all of them.
Da Vinci was like a rare case.
Was it important to artists to be credited? And when did that start becoming a thing? And because, I mean, I think we all, even if we're not directly artists, you know, I feel like everyone has their relationship with art and how they experience it, what they feel from it, and their philosophy or theories on what its purpose is, right?
Yeah.
And I do feel like, to me, I feel like when I am sitting and looking at Monet, like a real piece of Monet, and I'm brought to tears, like, maybe I'm not experiencing it the way that he painted it, but because no one has control over how they experience a piece of art.
For sure.
And it might be completely different. And so there's this, like, almost like mystical thing that happens.
Well, it's magic. Like, it's proof to me that magic exists. That you can sit in front of a Monet painting and cry.
There's something going on.
Yeah.
And I think, like, so when it comes to being, like, you know, because I do believe people should be credited for the ideas, for the techniques, the imagery, the art that they create, but at the same time, it's like, is it all about who did it? And when can we just be, like, because I feel like you experience, like, beauty through Rodin's, you experience whatever you experience with, like, Camille's, and isn't that why they're creating it?
Most likely.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard thing, because
it is a hard thing.
It's so
very
easy.
Weird.
It's actually, like, interesting, because you have, like, written words.
Yeah.
That usually always have a name attached to them.
They do, and I remember being in school, and I also love poetry. I think poetry is a form of art, of course, and so is writing. I mean, almost anything really could be a form of art. And I remember being so frustrated in high school and college when I would take an English class or a poetry class and be forced to, what's the word I'm looking for?
Interpret it a certain
Not
way.
even that, but oh my gosh, I'm losing my mind. It's past my bedtime. Dissect. That's the word I was looking for. I was forced to dissect these poems that I before then had just taken at their emotional, like what I felt emotionally, my perception, and like where I was coming from in my life, and there's some
They
poets.
tried to make art technical. They
did.
try and dissect it in a
part of me hates
a math
that.
problem.
Part of me loves it, because then I can understand the technical parts of
There's a
it. Like,
part of your left brain that's
I can
kind of
look
into
at it and be like,
but,
God, the way they sculpted that face is amazing. Like, technically it's perfect, which might be what the sculptor was trying to do or the painter was trying to do, but it's not the point of the painting.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's not the point of the poem, is to dissect what the fucking blue curtains meant. Like, they're blue, and it's painting a picture of the room for you so that you're there where they're writing it. Probably. Don't know. Not sure. That writer's no longer alive. You know what I mean? But with the art, I just always feel like artworks are manifestations of the artist's emotions. Mm-hmm. And until Camille came along, there were times, of course, before her that it was emotional, but there was that weird time in history and the history of sculpture when it was mostly biblical, and that's what people wanted, and that was the trend, and that's what people were paying for, and so that's what artists were making for commission, whether or not they were making them for themselves or for whatever. That's a different thing, but I love that she was putting her emotions in a sculpture for us to feel and see. And part of me this might be the part of me that also loves the movie and the book Gone Girl, but like not sure. Part of me loves that that she destroyed them, most of them, because if what I believe to be true or what I perceive to be true or whatever about her, that she was manifesting her emotions in sculpture, and then that relationship ended that she'd had since she was 19.
This was
and she
her way
was
of letting
35 or whatever when it ended. That was her way of destroying it and letting it go and truly being like, no, that's not me anymore, or whatever she was doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's beautiful. We all have gotten rid of things that ex-lovers have given us or ex-partners have given us, because that's part of letting go of them and that relationship and moving forward by yourself, with your relationship with yourself or with your relationship with other people or whatever. And so it doesn't seem that irrational to me, I guess. Mm-hmm. But again, maybe that's my Gone Girl side.
No, sure. I agree with you. I think like just because you're destroying a piece of art because it might have value to us, it does not mean that its demolition has been like in vain.
Right. Yeah, she didn't destroy it just to be like...
It's an act.
I don't like it anymore.
Yeah.
It feels... Because of the way history's written, it feels emotional. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe she just was like, eh.
Yeah.
But we all like to believe it was romantic. There are also, to just another side note, there are also pieces of Rodin's or Camille's that are not signed at all, and those are some of the ones too that it's very obvious that multiple people, more than one person, was working on them.
Right.
And so they made art together, which I also think is really beautiful and challenging for a couple, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was, it's fair to say that it was a tumultuous relationship from what we know of history of those two. So Camille's life from her destruction of a lot of her work, there's 30, I think, pieces left. From the time she destroyed those works and her father died and she was either living on or pretending to live on the streets, and no longer in any kind of relationship with Rodin, her brother and mother decided that she should be, is incarcerated the right word? She wasn't in jail. She was in an asylum.
What is it?
Institutionalized. There we go. Yes. Thank you. Sorry, fuck. It's late. So, and by late, I mean it's like 9:30, which is past my bedtime.
I mean, we've been up since
34,
5.
okay?
I'm 34, and I've been up since 5.
I've been up
Leave me alone.
So, she was institutionalized, and the part about this, too, like, history's so... Like we've already talked about, history is so funny because we're making facts about these people that might just be someone's perception of them. It might not be true, but from the actual like log books and written things and actual facts, I guess, or evidence is better probably for that. Evidence from the institution that she was in, which I didn't write down the name of it. I totally spaced. It's where she grew up, though, in northern France. The documents don't ever have... They say it was a voluntary turning herself in or whatever. But her signature is not on any of the forms, and it would have been if it were actually voluntary. And instead, her brother and mother's signatures are on them. And then she was institutionalized for 30 years until she died, which is also very, very sad. Mm-hmm. And she never sculpted again. And there were multiple times in those 30 years of her being institutionalized. And by multiple, I don't mean like 2 or 3. I mean like 12. 7 to 12, I think. Her doctors saying there's no reason for her to be here. She's not insane. She doesn't have schizophrenia.
Yeah.
She's not crazy. She doesn't need to be institutionalized. You're doing her a disservice by her being here, and her family ignored it every time. They just left her there. And her brother, it's noted that and this is all by documentation, so he signed in and signed out. That's how they kept track of who visited which patients.
Right.
In the 30 years, he visited her 7 times. Her mother never visited. Her mother never visited her, and her sister visited her once. And when she passed away, her brother didn't go to her funeral service, and she was thrown in a mass grave at the institution.
And she comes from a high middle class family, which
and
they would have had a
and
plot.
She had 30 works, and that was it. So it's remarkable that anyone even actually heard of her ever.
Yeah.
And she is quoted as saying right before she passed away, it's really sad, but I think should be said because her words should live on.
Yes.
She is quoted as saying, "The events of my life would fill more than a novel. It would take an epic, the Iliad and the Odyssey and Homer to tell my story. I won't recount it today. I don't want to sadden you. I have fallen into an abyss. I live in a world so curious, so strange. Of the dream that was my life, this is the nightmare." And that was before she died. And I can't even imagine. I don't want to imagine, but when I try to imagine that kind of abandonment from the beginning, because her mother didn't love her or want her or care about her at all. So she was immediately abandoned by her mother until she died, and she was 78. She was,
She was how old?
78.
When she died.
Mm-hmm.
God. I mean, to have spent more years in an asylum than out.
Uh-huh. Yeah. It's just it's so sad. And from also the research I have done before even our podcast, because I read about her and was like, holy fuck, this woman, holy shit. People have tried to find her remains so that they can properly bury her and give homage to her that way, which we can give homage to her. We're giving homage to her by talking about her on a podcast, whether or not we have a lot of listeners. But in the future, if we do have lots, they can go back and listen to this episode. We can also talk about her again. But people are paying homage to her without her remains, and I think that might even be more important. But I understand the want of us to find them. But there is the museum just opened last year, and it's solely dedicated to her, and it is in her hometown.
Where?
I don't remember. Okay. I don't remember because I couldn't pronounce it properly.
What does it look like?
Oh, I don't think I even wrote it down.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty famous.
Viennevu se faire.
Yeah.
Don't know where that is.
It's in Northern
Montfavet near Avignon.
Yeah, it's near Avignon. That I do remember.
So if you ever get around those parts,
Avignon's pretty well known in France.
It is, okay.
Yeah, but I haven't been. That's actually one of my I didn't realize that it had opened when I was in France last. And I also didn't realize it would be my last time in France. It's not my last time in France. It was the last time I was in France.
We're going to take the choo-choo down.
We are, when my mom lived there is when it was. So, but I want to go. And I think she's incredible.
I think we should go.
We should.
I think we...
Should we cheers on it?
Yeah. We have to now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's incredible, and her sculptures are fucking beautiful and are wonderful. And like I said in the beginning when we first started this podcast today, which was like 4 hours ago.
I mean, we had to endure a bat.
Oh my gosh, it's been one of those weeks.
A breathing dog.
I know,
Oh, she's so sweet,
She's so sweet, but she was panting and it sounded like a ghost.
It sounded terrifying.
I said it wasn't going to, like, her story's not happy.
No, yeah.
I mean, not real, her life wasn't, but it can be happy now. I mean, I'm sure her spirit is living on through her art, and people are recognizing her more and more and realizing that she was an incredible woman in history and that she deserves notoriety, because I will say I believe, and this is, a podcast that you and I are doing, it's part mine. I can say what I believe, and I do often, obviously, that I believe that she's responsible for Rodin's inspiration of his works and for him being as famous as he is, and she should be recognized for her inspiring nature and her inspiring art and herself. So she's our badass in history this week.
She is. And she's actually incredibly beautiful.
She's incredibly beautiful, yeah.
If you see the photo we post of her, I mean...
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't know when that was taken. Was that...
She was 19.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when she was in the height of her relationship with Rodin?
Oh, at the very beginning.
At the very beginning.
Before
it all
the
went.
shit all hit the
So...
It was... But you can see, like, when you look at that picture in her eyes, you can see that she's not perky.
Yeah.
We'll say. I think her eyes look sad, but she also, I mean...
What's interesting to the photo, to me, is that when you first look at it, it looks like she's looking off to the side. Mm-hmm. And then you look at her and she's actually looking at you. Mm-hmm. Which I don't know. I just
and
think
she
that's
looks at you.
And then you look at her and she's looking at you.
Yeah.
Like.
Mm-hmm. She's amazing.
Yeah. I'm glad we got to talk about her.
Me too. Well.
Because she's here.
She is. She's still living through her art. There's a book I love. It's a pretty popular book. It's by Kurt Vonnegut. It's called Slaughterhouse-Five.
I love that book.
Yep. Yeah, and I love how it's the Tralfamadorians, right? The aliens.
Tralfamadorians.
Uh-huh. How they don't believe people die right away because they live on through your memories, and when you think of them, they're still alive. So I like to believe that Julie Daubigny and Camille Claudel are still very much living because people still talk about them. Mm-hmm. And every other woman will talk about on this podcast. Past and present and future.
Yeah. So cool.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Well, I'm going to go to bed.
Bedtime.
Bedtime.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers, bitch.
Cheers, bitch.